Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 shlokas 21 to 30 meaning. Veda vinashinam nityam ya enamajamavyayam katham sapurushav partha kam ghatayati hantikam. Shri Krishna continues to explain to Arjuna, how can one who knows the soul to be imperishable, which is eternal, which is unborn, and immutable, kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? Shri Krishna continues to explain, O Partha, how can one who knows the soul to be imperishable, eternal, unborn, and immutable, kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? Someone who is spiritually elevated, who has understood the spiritually elevated soul, does not have any ego, does not think he or she is the doer of the action. In that state, one can actually see that the soul seated within does nothing. Such an elevated soul, though doing all kinds of actions, is never tainted by them. So Shri Krishna is advising Arjuna that he must elevate himself to that enlightened level, seeing himself as the non-doer, free from egoism, and perform his duty rather than shirk from it. Shlokam 22. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grihnati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. Like how a person removes worn out garments and wears new ones, similarly at the time of death the soul casts off its worn out body and enters a new one. Shlokam 23. Nainam chindanti shastrani nainam dahati pavakaha na chainam kledayantyapaha na shoshayati marutaha. Weapons cannot shred the soul, nor can fire burn it. Water cannot wet it, nor can the wind dry it. Consciousness, which is the symptom of the soul, can be perceived by material instruments, but the soul itself cannot be contacted by any material object. This is because the soul is divine and beyond interactions of material objects. Shri Krishna explains this very clearly by saying that wind cannot wither the soul, nor water can moisten it, nor fire can burn it. Shlokam 24. Achedyoyam adahyuyam akledyo shoshya evacha nityas sarvagatasthánur achaloyam sanatanaha. Shri Krishna continues to talk about the divine nature of the soul, and he says the soul is unbreakable and incombustible. It cannot be made wet, nor can it be made dried. It is everlasting in all places, unalterable, immutable, and primordial. Shri Krishna is adopting the rule of Punarukti, which is repetition, as a tool in Bhagavad Gita for stressing the importance of spiritual principles and to ensure that they are grasped deeply by the students. Shlokam 25. Avyaktoyamachintyoyam avikaryoyamuchyate tasmadevam viditvainam nanushochitumarhasi. Now that you've understood what the soul is, it is invisible, it is inconceivable and unchangeable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. Shlokam 26. Atha chainam nityajatam nityam vamanyase mritam tathapi tvam mahabaho naivam shochitumarhasi. Shri Krishna continues to explain that even if, however, you think that the self is subject to constant birth and death, even then, O mighty armed Arjuna, You should not grieve like this. In our Indian scriptures, the Vedas are accepted as the primal authority. So it is important to understand the significance of the soul and that it passes from one body to another. So we should not worry about the material body at all. Then why should we lament? This is explained in the next verse. Shlokam 27. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmadapariharyerthe natvam shochitumarhasi. Death is certain for someone who has been born on earth, and rebirth is also inevitable for one who has died. Therefore, you should not lament over the inevitable. During every moment of our life, we are seeing around that people are dying. Those who are alive are witnessing this phenomenon. But yet they do not think that one day this will happen to them also. What can be more astonishing than this? Sri Krishna explains in this verse that life is inescapably a dead end, and so a wise person does not lament over the inevitable. Shlokam 28. Avyaktadini bhutani vyaktamadhyani bharata avyaktanidhananyeva tatra ka paridevana. O the Shion of Bharata, the descendant of Bharat, all created beings are unmanifest before birth, manifest in life, and again unmanifest on death. So why worry? So each individual is bound by three bodies: gross body, subtle body, and causal body. At the time of death, the soul discards the gross body, which consists of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and space, and departs with the subtle and causal bodies. The subtle body consists of 18 elements, and the causal body consists of the account of karmas from endless past lives, including the sanskars, the tendencies carried forward from previous lives. So before birth, the soul existed with the unmanifest subtle and causal bodies. After death, it still exists in the unmanifest state. It only becomes manifest in the middle. So death is no reason for grief. Shlokam 29. Ashcharyavat pashyati kaschidinam Ashcharyavat vadati tathaiva chanyah Ashcharyavat chainamanya shrunoti Shrutvaapyenam vedana chaiva kaschit. Some people see the soul as amazing, some people describe it as amazing, and some people hear of the soul as amazing, while others, even on hearing, cannot understand it at all. Shlokam 30. Dehi nityam avadhyoyam Dehe sarvasya bharata Tasmat sarvani bhutani Natvam shochitumarhasi. Shri Krishna continues to stress on the significance of the soul. O Arjuna, the soul that dwells within the body is immortal. Therefore, do not mourn anymore. There is no need to mourn for others also. Usually, in the course of his teachings, Shri Krishna explains a concept in a few verses and then states a verse summarizing those teachings. This verse is a summary of the instructions on the immortality of the self and its distinction from the body.